live here on Instagram. It is great to see you today. Hope your day is going very well. Amy and Andy, how you doing there on Instagram? Thank you for joining. Thanks to all the folks that are watching. Boy, our audience, I looked at numbers. I typically don't look at the numbers, but I did yesterday, and wow, we're growing with this. So if you are watching, it would mean the world if you would share. Just share that we're doing this every day at this time. So Ardell back in Crothersville, and hi to the Clark family in Utah. Good to see you guys as always. It's great to be here. So got a couple things to share with you today. Hope your day is going off to a good start, as is Friday, March the 75th. It's just all running together, isn't it? It's just, same as yesterday, right? Hey, Dwayne, happy Friday. No, thanks for being here. You are a regular. I'm really glad you're here. So excited about that. Excited about everybody being here, and hope your day is going great, as I said. So believe it or not, Tammy and I just got back to the house. We had not been out of, other than sitting in the backyard, we haven't been out of the house for days, a week, and we took our little pup Lucy to the vet. Lucy had surgery a couple weeks ago, right when all this was getting started, and oh my gosh, it's, you know how it is. I mean, you just I could have surgery and it wouldn't bother me nearly as bad as when my little dog has surgery. So we took Lucy to the vet to get her stitches out. The good news is that the growth, the tumor that was removed, is benign. So she's going to be fine. So we just, and you drive up to the vet and they come out in a mask and, covered up. I mean, practically, well, in hospital gear. I mean, basically. And you cannot go in the vets. You pull up to a parking spot in front of the door. They come out in all this garb and they take your dog and they go inside. Well, as you can imagine, when the procedure was happening a couple weeks ago, good grief, that was just terrifying. Just, sit in the car. Well, today it's just stitches coming out, but we're sitting there, and I get Lucy out of the car, and I get out of the car, got her on the leash, just walking her kind of up and down a little bit in front of the vet. They came out, they got her. I'm standing in front of the car waiting, just enjoying the sunshine. Car pulls up, guy gets out. He is there to pick up medicine for his dog. And, we're keeping our distance. He's standing in front of his car. I'm standing in front of mine. I'm guessing the guy is 75 years old. Maybe 72, maybe 78. But he's somewhere in his mid-70s. And so he says, so how you doing with all this going on? And I said, boy, it's crazy time. And I mean, what else can you say? It's a crazy time. We're fortunate that everybody in the family is healthy. Everybody's good. And he said, yeah, everybody's good with us too. He said, I just don't understand why we're going through all this. I don't understand why we're hurting people economically. The regular flu kills so many people every year. Why are we doing this? It doesn't make now this, I want to go, you're in the high risk group. I mean, the highest risk group are people over 70, right? I mean, and here he is saying, well, we got to get back to work. The flu kills this many people every year. And I wanted to say, didn't your mom teach you that two wrongs don't make a right? I mean, just because the flu kills this many people every year, does that mean let's add another one and that's okay too? I mean, we shouldn't find it acceptable that the flu kills that many, particularly when you go get a flu shot, and it'll help you out in many situations. But for goodness sakes, so we're okay with another 200, 300,000 deaths? That's okay? Because we accept it with flu, we accept it with car wrecks. I don't get that kind of thinking. I just don't understand thinking that, well, flu kills that many, this will kill that many too. Everybody back to work. I don't get it. I don't get it. So I tried to be cordial, and finally I said, well, sir, I really hope you stay healthy, and I hope that, what everybody is doing will make a difference. And he said, I don't see how it can. And I've got friends, Larry Winget being one of them, but I've got a lot of friends who have told me, you can't fix stupid. You can't fix it. But part of what gets me is the attitude that people have. I've seen several people post today on Facebook that for some states to lock down and other states not, it is kind of like having one section of the swimming pool where it's okay to pee. Sooner or later, it's going to get to all of us, right? I mean, it's just fascinating to me that way of thinking. Then I had somebody else that posted, somebody that I know that posted that they think there's a big conspiracy behind this, that this is bioterrorism, or that it's like, and I don't get it. It's a virus. We've got to work together. Yeah, stop stupid people. You can't fix stupid, or stop stupid people from doing stupid things. My pals Rob and Brian are on Instagram. If you can't, I'm relating that, guys, because I know that they can't see your post if they're watching live on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. And yeah, you can't stop stupid people from doing stupid things, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. Let me catch up and say hi to Cheryl and Charles. Groundhog Day lives on. Here we are, one more day, Charles. You're exactly right. It's hard to be cordial in that case, Cheryl says. And isn't that the truth? Sometimes you just want to go, what? What are you thinking? I mean, and all of us staying inside, that is the example of who's going to be the biggest beneficiary of this, because he's in the highest risk group. He's the biggest beneficiary of all of us staying away. He's the biggest beneficiary, and holy cow. I don't know if who you follow on social media or what television that you watch, but interesting to see Chris Cuomo from CNN said he lost 13 pounds in 3 days with this. And now Brooke Baldwin, another anchor that works in the same location, has been diagnosed. So that's just incredible that it's going everywhere there. Look, it's a challenge. Okay, that's an awkward comment to come in on. Right, Rita? Right. Timing is everything, right, Rita? That's an awkward comment to come in on. So, I mean, it's surrounding us, and the best thing that we can do is exactly what we're doing. But it leads into the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and that is, here is this guy who doesn't believe that it's real, and in spite of everything that's out there, it's absolutely stunning to me. So one of the things I think we all need to think about is, does this lack of getting it, does this lack of being willing to listen, what does this say about the people that you might be managing, or the people that you're working with, or the customers that you serve? It really strikes me that those of us who do understand, and I'm assuming everybody watching this does, or else you wouldn't be here, right? So what can we do when there are people who either don't believe the facts, or who dismiss it and think, well, it has to happen to me, so therefore it's not going to, why do I have to participate in this? I'm not sick. I had a young person one time say to me, why do I have to buy auto insurance until I have a wreck? So somewhere the economics wasn't taught at the school that he attended. It just drives me crazy, but it means that perhaps we need to reassess the messages that we share, whether it's with our kids, or whether it's with our employees, or whether it's with our colleagues, whoever it might be. We need to reassess how we're making our statements, because if you can't get this through, what can we get through in terms of the messages that we're out there trying to send? Colin says, I feel like he's one of those people we talked about yesterday where one article online makes you an expert on everything. Yeah, I mean, he read something, and that was another thing that he said. They have the drugs They just don't want us to have it. And I have to tell you, that is one thing that drives me crazy. Many of you know that I lost my first wife to cancer, and I heard so many times from so many people, they have a cure for cancer. They just don't want it out there. Well, who's they? And can you imagine, if you have the cure for cancer, Bill Gates is shining your shoes. You are the richest company. You're the richest person on the planet. And the CEO of McDonald's died from cancer. Paul McCartney lost his wife. What would Paul McCartney have paid to keep Linda McCartney? It's ridiculous to think that whoever they are, see, they never define the they. It's the drug companies or it's the whatever. And it's absolutely ridiculous. If you got the cure to cancer, you've got more money than is imaginable. I do think they were working harder to make cancer a chronic illness than they are for the cure, because that's probably easier and more attainable. Yeah, it will make them more, but good Lord. Conspiracy theorist Rob is exactly right. Love the idea of fantasy and reality. It is so true. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth so we could listen twice as much. Truer words were never spoken. Tom says Christopher Cross hasn't saved Yacht Rock. Tammy and I went to see Christopher Cross when he was here in Vegas. And, oh man, I didn't know that Christopher Cross had it. Good grief. It's all around this. The guy, I saw, Tom, that you were listening to Welcome Interstate Managers, is the leader of Fountains of Wayne, lost to it. So if you have no they, you have no conspiracy. Charles, that's exactly right. We've got to come up with some they out there. But what is challenging, I think, for all of us, whatever we do, is that if we really look at how people are responding, we're seeing a couple of things. Number one is that people think that because, as was said here, they've read an article or something, or have seen something on Facebook, or they've seen something on the internet, that it absolutely must be true, and they take it as gospel. And that is something we all have to fight in terms of the messages that we bring to the marketplace and how they are received. But the second thing is, we have gotten to a point that nobody wants to do what they're told to do. Look, I don't want the government telling me everything in my life. I'm not that kind of, follower. I'm not a lemming that's going to. But when the government says there's this big of a problem, and the scientific experts agree, I mean, at what point do we not do as we are instructed that we should do? Or at what point does the unwillingness to do that can damage the lives of other people, what do we do about that? I mean, these are some interesting and serious and challenging questions, and there's no easy answer. But one of the things that we have to do is to think about how we communicate in these times where there is such disbelief of the messages that are out there in the public. And so part of what we have to do is to make our messages clear. We have to be very precise about what we're saying, because the more nebulous, the more wiggle room that there is out there in what we're saying, the more that people are going to question, and the more that people are going to be concerned, and the more that people are going to disbelieve. Second thing is we've got to use an illustration, right? I mean, maybe some of you saw I reposted a thing on social media today, and it's a picture of a GI in World War II carrying a donkey through a field. And you read the caption, and it explains that they had placed mines in that field. But if they let the donkey just wander around the field, the donkey would probably step on a mine and blow it up and kill everybody. So the GI picks up the small donkey and carries the donkey through the field. And it says, the moral of the story is, when times are difficult, the first thing you got to do is make sure the jackasses can't do everything that they want to do when they want to do it, and get them in control. And there's something to that, right? The guy I met today, I can't get that out of my head, because it's absolutely striking and shocking that the very person who fits the profile of who would benefit the most from all of this is one going, oh, it's conspiracy, and why are we doing this, and let's all go back to work, and let's ignore, and it just drives me crazy. So what we have to do is to be very careful that the messages that we have are being received in the right way. The second thing is, because people won't do what we want them to do, it stresses the importance of education instead of training. That we educate them to do things as they should be done, as opposed to merely just train them and expect them to rubber stamp every order that we give. It's not going to happen in today's world. Amy and Andy says that story is called hauling ass. Yes, it absolutely is. Gee, I was hauling ass through the field. That is absolutely right. Tim, yeah, after 90 days. Yeah, you bet. So that becomes the challenge for us. And it's a challenge that we're going to have to meet. I also saw where J.K. Rowling posted today that we shouldn't be encouraging people to take courses or to do any kind of, professional or personal development during this time because we don't know what people are going through. That really struck me. And far be it from me to argue with a billionaire author, but let me just state that part of the reason I've been encouraging it is not to put additional pressure on anybody, right? I mean, she acts like the reason that we're saying that is to put additional pressure on people to buy our program. I don't have a program for sale for you. That's not it at all. But I think unless we do things like that, it becomes so easy to get mired in the depression of just sitting there and worrying about something over which we have no control. None of us have any control over how this current situation is going to play out. How it's going to play out, how long it's going to take to play out. None of that is anything over which we have control. So if we could use this time to help develop ourselves personally and professionally, not only will that help us as this plays out, but it also gives us something to do. It takes our mind off. It gives us a break from, the drudgery of what's going on. So that's why I'm encouraging it. That's why I think it's a good choice to select that you're going to make some advances and take some time and do some things to improve your life and improve yourself personally or professionally, whatever it might be. I think all of that is absolutely critical and absolutely important. So with all respect, J.K. Rowling, we can't wave a magic wand, see what I did there, and just make this go away. But what we can do is to leverage it and to use it to the best of our ability. Let me catch up here. Yeah, Laura says the average IQ is only 100. That's right. Tom, good discussion again today. Scott, thanks. Did you get the email from Delta about extending the e-credits for 2 years on purchased tickets? I did not get that, Tom. How interesting. Delta is extending the e-credits for 2 years on purchased tickets. That is a great show of customer service at a time they're really feeling the hurt. That is distinction. Wow, Tom, thanks. I will go back and double check. I had not received that yet. As a matter of fact, I did have a ticket with them. I had a speech in Toronto that I was going for. So I need to double check and see where that came out. Thank you very much for that info. Yeah, Charles, can you be that J.K. Rowling saying that people don't need to use this to improve? But they're saying we don't know what they're going through. Yeah, I realize we don't know what they're going through. But I know the one thing we're all going through is feeling challenge and pressure and stress because of all the stuff that's happening. So anything that we can do to help take our mind off of that or give us a project or make something better, I think is positive. Brian Fanzo, my great buddy. Man, I'll tell you what, if you don't know Brian, you got to check Brian out online. He is just an amazing speaker and thinker and thought leader, advocate. He's as good as it gets. So Brian says, I've been testing a variety of messages and stories in my community to try and educate in all ways. By the way, if you're wondering why do I read this, if you see it in front of you on Facebook, it's because the people on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram don't get a chance to see it. You only see what you are. So share stories of recovery, stories of 30-year-old death, stories of inspiration, stories are, Brian, we talked about it here a couple of days ago, but the stories are what is going to get us through this. But it's also what's going to awaken us. You're exactly right. I mean, when we hear, people think they're bulletproof, and particularly the millennial group that you relate the most to and that you speak about so eloquently, has had a degree of feeling of maybe being a little bulletproof, and the stories that you can tell, gosh, are absolutely critical to making certain that folks understand it's just because you're young doesn't mean you're immune. That's so important. The stories are just incredible. Charles, now that I've binged Ozark, I'm lost. You know what we had to do? We started watching season 3 of Ozark, and we realized that it had been so long since we watched season 2, there were some little nuances that we didn't quite remember. We weren't up to speed on. So Tammy and I went back last night and watched the final 4 episodes of season 2 to make certain that we're on, and we, as we went, oh gosh, I forgot about that. And that she did, and so we're starting the binging probably tonight on Ozark season 3. So we've been joking from the reality of Tiger King to the Ozarks. We're really catching an interesting slice of life here during our quarantine. Colin, Southwest doing the same. That's great. Yeah, thank you, Brian McCain. Greater than not financially, pal. I'll promise you that. Right? Not financially. So anyway, so that's what I want to talk about today is understanding that now more than ever before, we've got folks that just don't get what's going on. And it's striking, and it's confounding, and it's irritating, and it's challenging, and especially in social media that can bring ignorance to the front. But what we have to do is, first of all, to take care of ourselves, to keep the path for ourselves. As has often been cited as an example, on the airlines, they don't say, put everybody else's mask on and then take care of you. No, you put your mask on first, because you can't help somebody if you're incapacitated. You can't give what you don't have. And so we have to be willing to take care of ourselves first. So that's the first step. Second step, don't let it get you down. Try to help, try to communicate, do all you can, but we can't let it get us down. But we also need to remember, and we also need to consider that as we learn that people are listening to messages differently, they're more skeptical. They believe sources that are ridiculous. If you weren't here a couple days ago, I was talking about a woman that posted, you morons that don't understand COVID stands for Chinese originated virus, and it doesn't. But she read it on the internet, and she was absolutely convinced that that's. Come on, I mean, I'm going to do a video. I've had this on the back burner, but now after today, I'm going to be shooting it over the weekend. But could you imagine being at a football game? You get in the huddle, and everybody tries to call a play. You can't have that happen, right? There's not enough time. You got to get the next play off. And so that there is one person, the quarterback, tells everybody else what the play is going to be. And I think we have to look at what's happening with the Center for Disease Control and the leader there and the person that speaks every day. I think we have to think of him as the quarterback. And we might disagree with the play, but let's do that after the game's over. And I was sharing that idea with somebody, and they said, yeah, but as fans, we get to criticize the play calling, and we get to criticize the quarterback. And I said, see, that's the difference. We're not fans here. We're on the field. We are in the game. We are part of what's happening. We're not just sitting in the stands. We're on the field. And so for us, we have to be willing to follow the play. So that's the key. All right, Cheryl, yeah, it's harder to fall into self-pity if you're helping others. It's true. The more we help others, and the more we have that other focus, we do it not only for them, but I also think that when we volunteer and when we work and when we give of ourselves, it always helps us. Yeah, Charles, the Monday morning quarterbacks. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope today's conversation was of interest to you. You found some value in it. Please share this if you would. That's the way we get more folks coming in here. And I'm doing this 7 days a week. Where am I going? So if you're here tomorrow, same time, I will be too. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. We get together and chat about some things every day. Thank you very much for watching, whether it was on Instagram or whether you've been on Twitter, Periscope, or Facebook. Love it. It's such a privilege to have a chance to speak to you. So look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. See you then, and hope you have a very safe day. Talk to you soon. Thank you.